Hi guys! I feel like we are way overdue for a revising vlog, a revising update, some thoughts, some insights. So I wanted to make this video a bit of that. So hi, welcome back. If you know me, if you don't, hi, I'm Andy. So I am currently almost at the end of revising Act 2 of this book, and I'm in my third round of revision. So I finished up, what was it? I finished up draft 2, gosh, I want to say that was at the end of March, start of March, somewhere in that time frame. I'll have to look. Let me look at the calendar. As of the start of this month, which is August, I have now officially been in draft 3 revisions of this project for 5 months. This is my 6th month. So, have things gone a little slower than I thought they would for draft 3? Yes. But also, they've gone so well, I'm not upset about it. I think it's okay, especially with working on your first kind of major project like this, to have pacing be something you kind of feel out as you go. There's been so much that I've learned, obviously, and you can go back in all the history of my videos to really kind of get a grasp of that. But I'm really satisfied with where this project is heading. And with this new job structure that I have, it's taken a little bit of adjusting just to kind of get a feel for my new hours and things like that. But I have been consistently able to knock up my writing hours per week by like threefold, which has been really great for progress. So I think I'm on chapter 30 now or somewhere close to that. And where it stands right now, there's about 45 chapters in the book or just shy of 50. So that being said, I feel like I am really covering some ground, and the last, few number of months have been really productive. However, it's only been 1 month that I've been able to have all this included and added writing time to what I've normally had in the past. So the first 4 months of revision of this pass were with the 40-hour-a-week job and pretty minimal writing time. And now I feel like I have a little more time in my week and have been moving a little bit faster and farther ahead. There's a couple of updates within how things are changing, not majorly. I haven't run into anything yet that has to be like an overhaul rewrite, but there are a couple of things that I feel like this draft let me know I was lacking and that I've been able to add in. And I want to talk to you guys about that later and kind of give a real update of where this project is at and all the things I'm excited and planning to do within this next month of August. I do still have the goal of getting this book to beta readers within the month of August, at least my first round. And I really think it's right there. I really believe that I can hit that goal. If not at the very end of August, then at least by the second week of September. That's like my actual deadline I have on the calendar, but I'm kind of mentally telling myself to continue to try to move for the end of August deadline so that way I make more progress instead of less by giving myself a longer deadline. Anyway, I have 2 rounds of beta readers. I have 4 beta readers picked out right now, so 2 in each round. And I think this book is pretty darn close to ready to go to those first 2. I just need to push through and get to the end of it. But what has been touched and revised so far really is just about as good as I can get it, and I've solved all the problems that I can see. Now, there's still questions I have about the manuscript, things that I'm wondering if they need improved, so it's not like I know everything's perfect, but the questions that I have are things I think a fresh set of eyes needs to be able to tell the answer to. You just spend so much time in your own work, sometimes it gets hard to tell what's a good idea and what's going to be a positive revision and what is just you spiraling about the same question you've asked yourself 45 times. So that being said, this video is going to be a fun little revision vlog over the weekend. It's currently Friday afternoon. I'm planning to get a good writing session in here with Brielle in a few minutes, which will be super fun. And then tomorrow morning I have some time before I have plans later in the day, and I'm hoping to write then as well. So my goal for this weekend is to move through an additional 4 chapters. So if I could get through 2 chapters tonight and then 2 more tomorrow, that would really get me a lot closer to the end of Act 2. I am pretty darn close. So I just need to keep powering forward and keep making decisions on a couple of the things that I feel like I need to change, and I just need to go ahead and switch them over. And it's more of adding than changing, actually. I'm not really changing what's existing, I'm adding more in from our second POV, which has been a cool exploration. So all that to be said, let's go ahead and get into some writing. I'm ready to get some work done and get some words in, and then I will check in with you guys after that and let you know how it went and give some other revision updates.
Diamond on the hands on, how that you know. Pretty little kitty on her round, just about a minute I drive home. Should I make a calling for nothing? A sweet thing on herring, canvassing. I've been obsessed with you, with you. Cause girl, you smell just like a star that I can't even touch about.
Hello again. I just finished doing about 2 hours worth of writing with Brielle, and it went really well. I actually made it through my goal of getting through 2 chapters for tonight, which was great. One of them was mostly revised, but I knew I needed to kind of draft a new portion of the scene into it, so I was able to do that. It's kind of a fight scene between our two main characters at a pretty climactic part of the book, which was really fun to draft. I knew I needed to add that scene in back a couple days ago when I was working on the manuscript, but just wasn't feeling inspired in the right way at the time, and tonight it was a lot easier. I was able to kind of actually think back to the scene in Avengers Civil War that I love where Bucky and Black Widow are fighting, and I went and watched that clip and kind of took some inspiration from the physicality of that scene. I think one thing that if you ever try to write anything fantasy or action centered, combat writing is really hard. It's a kind of a unique take on description because it can feel cheesy at times or just ingenuine, and other times it can feel hard to get the reader to really see the motions that are happening in their head. I think that's the beauty of stunt choreography in movies, is it's an idea someone has, but then they get to like physically put it together and you get to witness it. And I think in writing, it's almost like the reverse, where I am imagining the images in my head and then trying to put the best description that I can to them on paper to the point where you'd be able to understand what I'm seeing in my head. That proves to be a challenge, but I'm really glad that so far I haven't had a short of inspiration for fighting scenes. I think I've been able to kind of block out choreography for that in my head and visualize it, which has made it easier to write, which is awesome. So I was able to add that scene in some of our first sprints, and then my second sprint was second and third sprint, or however many we did. The second chunk of my writing time went towards the next chapter, which is the one that follows this big fight scene and kind of a turning point thing that I can't give away to you guys, but it was something that really needed revised. It's a pretty dialogue heavy scene, and I didn't have incorrect dialogue in there. Like it was just draft 2 versus draft 3. So I updated some things and just kind of made sure that the demeanor felt accurate to where our characters are at right now. And that felt like a really good change. The next scene or next chapter I need to work on is actually in the other POV, and it's one that needs completely drafted. It's one that I'm choosing to add in. So that's been one of the biggest revision updates, is realizing that I was lacking on my second POV a little bit too much, and choosing to just go ahead and change that. Why didn't I do that in draft 2? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But here we are in draft 3, changing it in. So those drafting chapters have gone a little slower than my typical drafting pace, just because I'm trying to draft them at a draft 3 level instead of early level. So how many times can you say draft in one 1-minute segment? But anyway, that one I feel like I need to save for tomorrow morning because I'm just feeling a little drained mentally now from the 2 longer writing sessions, and I want to feel like I have clarity on what the scene actually needs when I go in to draft it. So I'm going to give myself some time to think over that, and I hope that tomorrow morning I'll have a little bit more direction for the scene other than just a vague idea of what the chapter needs to push the plot along. And then from there, I'll only have 3 more chapters to revise in all of Act 2, which is so exciting. And those are in pretty decent shape. I don't think those will need heavy reworking. If anything, what's going to need changes before I get to the end of Act 2 is continuing to find spots where there's holes or maybe additions need to happen. So that's kind of an update of where I'm at the moment. But it's about 6 o'clock here. I'm hungry, so I'm gonna go make some dinner and probably hang out with Noah, and then I'll check in with you guys tomorrow morning or late morning as we get ready to do a little more writing and keep plugging along with revision. So see you guys in the morning. Hello again. It's actually Monday afternoon, not Saturday morning. I didn't end up filming over the weekend, just things kind of got away from me. And yeah, so here I am on Monday evening. I'm about to have a live stream with Alyssa and Brielle, which is going to be so fun. Hope to see you there. And I'm really excited for it. I am still kind of in that same position where I was able to get through those 2 chapters that we talked about on Friday. And now I'm in a spot where I need to revise. Oh, hey, Bennett. I actually need to draft a new chapter tonight from the general's point of view and then revise another one. I think I might start with the revision of the one that will come after the general's chapter because it already exists, and I think it's just an easier place to kind of jump back in and get my feet wet. And then I'll go back and kind of, think what needs to be drafted. I do have an idea of what needs to go into the chapter that's from the general's point of view, but I haven't had like a strike of inspiration for that chapter yet or for the scenes that will be in that. So that's kind of why I avoided did writing it this past weekend. Being that I'm in draft 3, I'm really trying to avoid drafting anything that's not solid work, that I don't feel really confident is what needs to be in the manuscript. And I'm well aware of the fact that there's a lot of revisions still to be done that I know is in a good place to be revised. And I could always come back and draft in this chapter, the end of Act 2 or something like that. So I'm trying to hold the need to get that done loosely a little bit right now. I just don't want to draft anything that when I send it to betas, I'm like, that was the wrong choice and I should have just sat on it a little bit longer. So anyway, just trying to be really intentional with everything that goes into the manuscript at this point in revision. I'm going to go ahead and hop on the StreamYard so I can chat with the girls a little bit before we go live. And then I will give you guys a little update as to how the writing goes when we wrap up everything afterwards. So let's do it.
Is there someone else beside you? Left a left-hand side behind and let you down? Or have you figured out how to sleep all by yourself? I know you always like to have.
Hello. It's been a few days since we last talked. I think we checked in when I did the Monday night live stream with Alyssa and Brielle. Apparently, I am just the worst vlogger ever. This was supposed to be a Friday evening and Saturday morning vlog last weekend, and it is now stretched into Wednesday of this week. So my goal is to finish it up tonight, edit it, and finally get it posted. So anyway, sorry for the delay on that. I don't know what's up with me. Just life feels honestly a little bit more, not chaotic, but just like every single day it feels like something has come up. I've still been able to write every day, which has been great, but I feel like my persistence with the camera has been way weaker than I thought it would be in this new job and just different season of life that we're in. So that's okay. I'm giving myself honestly a lot of grace for that. Yeah, I don't know. I always have to remember that YouTube is not the reason I write. Writing is the reason I do YouTube. So writing will always come first for me, and making progress on this book is always going to come first for me. So on the days when I feel like I have the motivation to write and the capacity mentally to do that, but maybe picking up the camera and talking to you guys or about the project just feels a little more draining or daunting, then that's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the reason I love my YouTube channel is because I get to talk about something that I love and I enjoy making videos and that creative outlet, but YouTube is not any source of income for me. Obviously, it'd be nice if someday that's what it was, but that's not my sole reason for having it. That's not my main objective in having a YouTube channel. And so I think that helps me alleviate some of the pressure sometimes on the days when, or the weeks when it feels hard to want to make videos. So I think I'm just in a little bit of a season of, lack of creativity for YouTube, even though when I decided to leave the other job that I was in, I felt like I had a big burst of it. I feel like since then it's actually dipped a little bit, which isn't what I expected. But again, I'm not going to get out of that creative rut by beating myself up for that or by feeling overly disappointed in myself for it or anything like that. So I've been in these kinds of lulls before and they always go away the same way that they have come on. So I know it'll pass and it'll be okay. And I know the fall is such a fun time on AuthorTube. And so hopefully by then I'm feeling a little more in the rhythm of things and able to put out a little more content that is exciting. On Monday night, I left off on having drafted a new chapter from the general's point of view that needed to be there. And that went better than I thought. I kind of had actually put that off over the weekend. And part of the reason I didn't pick up the camera and vlog again was because I didn't write again over the weekend. And that was honestly really nice. My husband and I have been incredibly busy with travel over this month. And so having a weekend where we did literally nothing and had no plans was such a reprieve in what our schedule has looked like pretty much all summer. So I'm glad I soaked that up. I don't have any regrets there, but I also think I was feeling intimidated about drafting in this phase of the manuscript that I'm in. And I think I talked about that a little bit the last time we talked, but being in the late version of draft 3, I've not really had to draft a ton of new things. So going back all the way to writing an entire new scene that wasn't there just felt a little bit like, not daunting because I don't enjoy drafting, I do, but I just wanted it to be at a certain level so that that way I didn't have to take that chapter through 3 or 4 rounds of revision to be at the same level as the rest of the manuscript. So is that avoidable? I don't really think so. I drafted it to the best of my ability and tried to go slow through it and really put intentional words on the page. And of course, I'll probably start today's writing session by rereading that and checking back in on it. But there's really nothing I can do to guarantee that it's perfect first pass, because I don't know if I'm at the point of writing where that exists for me yet. So I'm just going to have to do some passes on it, and that's okay. That's just what it takes to get what needs to be in the book in there. On a fun update, I've officially started reading the book that I got in my last video with Noah when we went to do the This or That writing challenge. So I grabbed The Love Hypothesis at Barnes & Noble. It's this beautiful hardback edition. I think I showed you guys in the video, but I don't think I spent much time on it. It's got such a fun illustrated cover that's got embossed words that are fun. And then the pages are this pink kind of fun science symbols and everything. And then my favorite part is that the inside, the hardback is just, it's a textured yellow. Like it's kind of it looks heathered. I guess that's how I would describe it. But it's kind of got a little scratchy material, hopefully because my mic was right next to my hand you could hear that. And then the blue title is embossed in there also. And then it also has these illustrated inside flaps, which I just think are so cute. So that's so fun. I'm only on chapter 7 right now, so I have not been making like insane progress on this or anything. I'm kind of at a point in reading where I'm back to just whatever I'm reading, I read one chapter of a night, which I don't know if anyone else who is a writer relates to that, but I feel like I've been in seasons where I read a ton. Like when we went to this cabin with Noah's family this summer to a lake house. There was no Wi-Fi. It was very remote. So I didn't even bring my computer because I thought, as nice as it would be to write up here, I don't want to be stressed about trying to work with things offline and then the work not saving right. That I also wanted to be present with Noah's family. So I think I read 4 or 5 books while we were there, like almost a book a day. So that was like so fun and such a confidence booster for me to remember that like I can read at this capacity and I love reading and I'm a good reader, I guess. Because most of my year doesn't look like that, especially since I've started writing and really diligently working on House of Aphtose over a year ago. My reading numbers have just kind of declined. So I think I average like maybe 1 book a month right now or something like that, 1 every 6 weeks. So, and I mean, this is a cute little romance. Like it's normally something I would fly through, but my capacity for it is just lower, especially with the desire to write being so strong every single day. So wanted to give you guys a little update on what I'm reading. If you made it this far in today's video, please feel free to drop any yellow emoji in the comments below. I would really appreciate that. And maybe comment and say hello if you're new, subscribe. I'd love for you to stick around. I'm currently working, like I said, on draft 3 of revisions on House of Aphtose. So hoping to get this off to beta readers soon and just continue to see it progress. So if you want to be up to date on all those things, feel free to subscribe. And otherwise, thanks so much for hanging out and I'll see you guys next week, I'm sure. I hope. Pray for me. Okay, guys. See you later. Bye.